Hey Karan, thanks for joining the Atman Show. And today we are going to talk about Inception, how the Inception movie relates to Vedanta. So before we go ahead and look at the video together, but do you have anything to say to my viewers? A brief description or a brief introduction?
Hey, hi. Thanks, Anna. Obviously, always good to talk to you. And hello, everyone. It's been a while since we discussed any form of points on these. But yeah, very excited about discussing Inception. Inception by itself this is a fairly, I would say, has so many layers to it, and Vedanta by itself is a conceptually, multi-layered. We will try as best as possible. Both of these are we can spend hours together discussing on it. Both of them are fairly complex ideas. Let's try and discuss it and see how much of sense we can make out of it. But yeah, it's very exciting. It's a very interesting, comparison between the two.
Okay, so first let's begin and watch this video together.
Sure.
Let us lay out the basics. Leonardo is Don Cobb, a master thief for hire who infiltrates other people's dreams to steal trade secrets. Cobb is accompanied by his longtime right-hand man, Arthur, played by Joseph Gordon, on top-level missions for well-to-do clients. Sato, played by Ken Watanabe, hires Cobb and Arthur to do Inception, indicating he wants them to plant an idea in his dying competitor's air instead of stealing one.
Steal an idea from someone's mind, and why can't you plant one there instead?
This idea will cause Robert Fisher, played by Cillian Murphy, to dismantle his father's multi-billion-dollar empire. Cobb cannot return to America to see his children because he is suspected of killing his wife, Mal. Sato promises to get Cobb to his children scot-free if he pulls off the job. Cobb assembles a team which includes the forger, Eames, who can transform into another person's identity. An architect, Ariadne, who designs the dreamscapes and teaches the dreamer about the world. To do Inception, the team needs to go multi-dream levels deep and require heavier sedatives, which is provided by a chemist, Yusef. Now, as the dreamers go into the inner levels of the dream, time will stretch, and if they go too deeply, they end up in limbo, where people seem to forget reality. So, the dreamers use a privately held object, a totem, to distinguish dream from reality. To wake the dreamer up by one level of dream, a kick is required. Also, if a dreamer dies in a basic dream, he wakes up by one level. However, in a multi-level dream, under a powerful sedative, a synchronized kick is required to wake the dreamer up. But if the dreamer dies, he or she ends up in limbo. The heist begins. In the first level of the dream, the team is put to sleep inside Yusef's dream, and Sato is shot during an unintended attack on them. The team kidnaps Fisher, while Eames morphs into Fisher's father's advisor, Browning. He tells Fisher that his father wanted him to create a new business, instead of inheriting his father's. In the second level, Yusef drives the team in a minivan, and the team is put to sleep again inside Arthur's dream. Cobb impersonates Fisher's security officer to tell him that he is dreaming and he is there to protect him. He persuades Fisher to enter Browning's dream to extract his secrets. At this moment, Fisher thinks he is entering Browning's dream, but Arthur puts the team to sleep in Eames' dream, thus Fisher facilitates his own inception.
He's gonna help us break into his own psychology.
In the third level, when everyone except Arthur goes into Eames' dream, Cobb instructs Fisher to breach into the fortress and locate his dying father's will. Cobb's dead wife, Mal, who is a part of his projection, appears in this dream and pulls the trigger on Fisher. Meanwhile, Sato dies and falls into limbo. Cobb and Ariadne think they can get Fisher back by going down into Cobb's mind, because Mal is projection of Cobb's mind. Consequently, Cobb and Ariadne enter Cobb's mind to find Fisher. At this level, as Mal stabs Cobb, Ariadne kills Mal's projection. Thereafter, Ariadne pushes Fisher off the balcony, which is timed perfectly with the shock from the defibrillator in the third level. Fisher wakes up in the third level, where his father asks him to be his own man. Cobb stays back to find Sato in limbo and get him back to reality. Finally, there is a synchronized kick in every level of the dream. Thus, everyone wakes up except Cobb and Sato. Eventually, Cobb finds Sato in limbo and reminds him that the world he's in isn't real. They killed themselves and wake up in reality. All right.
The movie Inception relates to the Vedanta concept of sleeper, the waker, and the deep sleeper, which forms the basis of consciousness, and how the movie relates to the four level of consciousness Turiya. So I know first you have
Okay.
to explain the Vedanta, then yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so quick recap of waker, sleeper, deep sleeper, and the Turiya states basically. I mean, waker, everyone knows what we see, what we do and we live as a collective is the waking life, which everyone understands. Sleeper is when you are, when you are sleeping and obviously having some kind of a dreams. That's basically a state where in your dream, what you are seeing, you believe at the moment when you're seeing the dream that it is true. Yet it is when you wake up, you realize that okay, no, it was not true. It was just a your own creation of your mind. The deep sleeper is the state where you are dreamless, you're sleeping, but you're in such great depth, and all of us would have experienced it at some point or the other. When you wake up and you're like really energized and you don't know what happened. You sometimes you might have slept only for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but it seems like forever, and so on. Now, the state of Turiya, again, I'm oversimplifying everything here, and you can watch the previous episodes. Go check the channel. We've discussed this in detail in earlier. And the state of Turiya is just the level of consciousness which knows that you are in deep sleep, and that consciousness is something which it kind of persists across all states of your consciousness. Again, all of it is, and Vedanta, I mean, again, in some ways is the study of consciousness itself. Like, what do you think is as consciousness, perception, whatever, whatever makes you feel that you are alive, and something that makes you feel that this is what life is all about. That's the study of Vedanta itself. So, when you're in those various states, each state, there is the consciousness, and there are altered state that many of you might have experienced, which sometimes the altered state is through use of drug itself. That is also consciousness, and in that level of consciousness, you are seeing, imagining, or whatever, you're creating a world which is very different. uh, the same state, many of that state can also be achieved, and that's the whole attempt of the deeper level of meditation. Again, in my head, in my way of thinking, meditation has two levels. One is just bringing you to the current moment, and living the moment or being present, all of those things, being mindful. The second level is when you are at the state of, a lot of people call it as bliss, or altered state, where you experience a whole bunch of things which are beyond your normal routine life. A lot of things like intuition, premonition, all of those things kind of fall into that state of depth when you hit. You can reach also there sometimes through hypnosis, and so on. So now, coming to the topic of inception, now the study of Vedanta is, at the end of it, is the study of truth. Like, what is truth, right? And where is that anchor? What, when everything is mithya or bhram, or fake, not true reality. So where does that anchor lie? So that's the study of Vedanta. Now, does Inception really very tightly align to Vedanta? Not really, but it definitely takes the concept of dreams to a much greater length, even more than, I would say, the level to which even it is discussed in Vedanta. But that itself is a good example of what is not true, and that's where the connection sits in. Anna, any question on that you want me to clarify more?
No, no, you can just go by that, what was the dream one, dream two, dream three, dream four concept. And even if it relates slightly to Vedanta, how you can, relate
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's almost impossible to eradicate. We can train your subconscious to defend itself from even the most skilled extractor.
How can I do that?
Because I am the most skilled extractor. If this is a dream and you have a safe full of secrets, I need to know what's in that safe.
He knows. Turn around.
The gun don't.
Known all along.
Are you here to steal from me, or do we are actually asleep?
Almost there.
So how it definitely relates to Vedanta is, see, the reality that we experience is primarily our perception. That's the same thing that we discussed in the Matrix example as well. So
Yes.
if something is influencing our perception, and what is perception? Perception is anything that you receive through your senses, which is the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. You are constantly being in touch with the outside world, which is giving you input, and in your perception, you are converting those inputs into some form of your past experiences, or it becomes a new experience for you, or in overall reality, it is basically you are, so for instance, some people may like cold cold weather. So the perception, the fact is, it is cold, it is, temperature is lesser than the normal that we are used to experience. Some people's perception that gets triggered is, oh man, it's too cold. Or the other one will say that, hey, it's pleasant, I like it. And that's your judgment, which goes along with your perception. So you're seeing the same fact, but you're interpreting it in your way, in a different way. Now, when you are in a dream state, you are still perceiving, you are still seeing things, you are still experiencing things, more or less. Now, is that true perception, or something which the brain is creating? So that I think is a very, that's the topic of connection between Inception and Vedanta, which is essentially, if your perceptions can be tweaked, your understanding, your belief, and the whole core of the Inception was essentially ideas and what you believe in. And of course, the Cobb as a hero starts off with extracting those ideas initially, but in the end, attempts to implant an idea.
Mhm.
In some sense, you can also relate it to brainwashing of people. So you are literally implanting ideas and making it. Now the only difference is when someone is brainwashing, they're doing it from outside, but in this, what their attempt is that the idea should be of that individual's, in this case, Robert or Fisher, who is the person who has to be implanted an idea that he's going to dismantle his father's empire and things like that. Now, so 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 that essentially leads us to, can Vedanta. So is that the truth? How do we so when your perception can be impacted, and when you are basing your reality primarily based on perception, uh, if the perception is tweaked itself by itself, then even in the reality that we live in, you probably are in a dream state, and which is what Vedanta's proposition is. Like even this.
I just want to interfere 1 minute. Like when you
Sure.
said dream sharing was first utilized by the military to provide a realistic training methods for soldiers in projects Somnasan. Underground circles have also utilized dream share for entertainment's purpose, such as dream kids for challenging others and creating dream for leisure. So this is something real, something it happened actually, like you sleep and there is some liquid that goes into and you can share something that has already happened. Can you like throw some light on that?
Yeah, so I mean, I think so. This is a very interesting. I mean, there's a lot of, obviously, with the moment it's consciousness, ideas, thoughts. There is a lot of research, psychological research, and experimentation going on consistently. I mean, at a higher level, obviously, there are multiple ways where you can track with your the scans and so on, of what impulses which are happening. Now we've reached a stage where which part of the brain is working, can or you can actually determine, okay, this is what this person is thinking about, or this is what is getting triggered, or these are the memories which are not at the greatest length, but that is possible now.
So
At the same point of time, some
yeah,
of these,
you can steal
yeah,
that, you know?
you can, yeah, theoretically you can,
Okay.
but we haven't reached that point where it is like absolutely, visually accurate or things like that. So
Okay.
there is a lot of it which is happening, and this thing. Now, shared dreams, or in some form, I think the other topic which I will throw in here is the lucid dreaming, the concept of lucid dreaming itself.
Okay.
Uh, so, if you've heard of lucid dreaming, is basically when the dreamer knows that you are dreaming, and when you know that you are dreaming, what it essentially means is you can create your own world, right? I mean, and how does that matter? Like, you can literally imagine, because you know that I'm dreaming, I'm free of constraints of the reality. Like, I mean, I can't fly in real without any tool, but in your dream state, and in a lucid dream, you can trigger to say that, oh, I can fly, because this is a dream, and this is in there, we are not no longer constrained with the limits of dream. And so that, if you're doing, and you can do that collective, so lucid dreaming can happen collectively as well, and a lot of it is related to hypnosis, when everyone is in that deep level of rest.
Mhm.
Minor suggestions which are even, you can be created, you can be thrown into different kind of world, like you are traveling in space, you're traveling in a forest, or you're on the surface of moon. You can imagine whatever, right? Uh, but that, if done collectively, is something which where you start to interact with people even at a deep level dream state. Now, have I done it personally? I have not. Have I experienced lucid dream? Yes, I have.
Really, you've
Uh,
experienced that. That
and
yeah,
yeah,
please tell about that. That's interesting.
yeah. So lucid dreaming, there are, so my personal experiences of lucid dream was, I do get dreams which are very persistent. Like, I mean, again, difference between reality and dream is, dreams are less continuous. Reality is continuous. So in real life, things, when your address doesn't change, or the place of location doesn't change. But in dreams, and even in Inception, they say that you suddenly, when you're in dream and you're conscious of a dream, you never know where things started.
Mhm.
You're suddenly in a scene. it
Exactly.
it could be anything. It could be you're in a train, you are in a plane, or you're in some village, or like most recently, I had a dream where I was in a very mountainous area, and there was some sense of, that there was going to be, floods and things like that, and flood is about to come, all of those things. And then somewhere it struck that, oh, maybe I'm dreaming, because this is not true. I've never seen this place. Sorry, this my voice, I think, got delayed.
That's okay.
So when that is happening, where you suddenly gain consciousness of the fact that this is a dream, then it creates a lot of possibilities. And if you are able to then recreate your own set of things, then it becomes, it becomes very exhilarating. Like, you can fly. I have had dreams where I have flown over a lot of places, including Hyderabad once. In my dream, I've flown over Hyderabad. That's one of the most interesting ones. And there was the way it is, again, very going back to the conceptuals of dreams, and this would have happened to a lot of you, is that when you're in a dream, any suggestion that you think of suddenly happens to be true. Like, if you're in a dream, you suddenly say that, oh, I'm in a forest. So you suddenly say, oh, okay, I'm in a forest. Hope there is no tiger there. And then you'll see a tiger. Then if you think that, oh, this tiger, oh, hope it doesn't attack, then it'll attack you. So essentially, whatever trigger that you give, it will do exactly that.
Mhm.
But even if you say no, that doesn't count. So it says that you thought of attack, then it'll attack. If you suddenly, your subconscious triggered things which says that tiger, oh, I see a tiger, but it looks very gentle, and it'll do nothing to me. It'll do nothing to you. It's something, or things like that, or you can recreate any of those elements, and so on. So this aspect of lucid dreaming, and again, going into the Inception, this thing, the director, I think, has taken those concepts and went to the greatest length to explain how this. Now, does in reality limbo exist? I would question, and I don't think there is any psychological basis of someone getting stuck in a limbo. But in the context of movie, it makes total sense. So that's the beauty of Inception.
Okay. All right. Okay, so in a puppet show, the artist is not seen by the audience. From his unseen position, he manipulates a number of wires to activate the puppet. The audience is thrilled by their movement and gesture. In reality, someone else is directing. Who's that? And everything is a gameplay. How did Yusuf, Arthur, Ernst, Cobb, Saito, Adrian, and Rover come together? Is it part of the gameplay?
Oh, so yeah, I mean, the question has multiple parts to it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I think, and again, I would want to take it back to the concept of Vedanta reality and how things are. Now, I think the core part of Vedanta is questioning the whole current state as reality. That reality that we think is reality is also some level it's considered to be Maya or mithya in some sense. It's not the truth. What you're seeing is a projection of your this thing, and you are the perceiver, and then there is a collective sense of, so everyone in a room, for instance, listening to the same thing, while they are living a collective reality, so to say, each one of them is creating their own worlds within it, and everyone will even if this interview goes out there, people will interpret it in 5,000 different ways. It's just a fact. So now, what Vedanta really is talking about is that, that what we think real is also not real, and what is real is essentially beyond the perception, and so on. So, which has to be essentially experienced, and you go to that level of quietness and calmness that you are able to experience that in the true sense, where everything else now, connecting that, so if we are living in a reality which is a dream, what does that mean? Essentially, everything that I spoke about from a lucid dreaming standpoint uh, is then true, which essentially means the whole concept of, we keep hearing, law of attraction, manifestation, all of those things. How does that work? Essentially, because if it is a dream that you're living in, and if you can think of a tiger appears in the reality, the length of the dream is much longer. It's not a short snippet of a dream. In dream, things happen much faster. Time dilation happens. But in reality, that the time is slightly longer. So when you believe, when you manifest, or you imagine things, it does happen, but it takes its cycle longer than that. Essentially, a lot of people who believe in manifestation will eventually also kind of believe in lucid dreaming, and kind of go back to that thing that your reality itself is can be bent and into other things. Now, in the context of the movie, what we have is a very interesting layering of it, and that's where the dream's length kind of becomes longer and longer as compared to reality. So I don't remember exactly the translation of it. Like every minute here is like an hour in the dream, which is true. I mean, I'm sure everyone has
That
seen
is
and
why
experienced.
when the van goes down, it goes very slowly.
Yes, yes. So while the van in reality would have fallen like, in a fraction of a second, but there's so much, because you're in dream state, there's so much you can cover and, imagine, do things, and that's what is going on. And that's where the other thing that the director very smartly has introduced is the use of chemicals to go into a deeper state of dreams, like multi-layered dreams. And again, I don't know if how many people have experienced it. Personally, the it is true that when you're dreaming within a dream, and you realize that, oh, you are dreaming, and you wake up and you're still in dream, it's a super, I mean, I would say when you wake up, it's a hilarious experience, but it's like still very interesting to see that it is possible to have a dream within a dream, and that itself is dilated, and the time dilation definitely happens. Uh, Now again, the in the context of movie making, they had to make it interesting. They had to make a story and all of those things, which they have done brilliantly. I think anyone who has seen the movie loves it. In the context of Search for Truth, is it true or not? The greatest question that the movie leaves you with is whether Cobb was dreaming, or it was the reality at the end. And then
Yeah.
that's why you have the top, which is supposed to be
Yeah.
is rotating, and that I think is a very very subtle way of saying and connecting. And that's where my thought was that it this is exactly what Vedanta is saying. You never know whether you have truly woken up, or you are probably still in a dream, and you think you have woken up. And I think that point is something which the movie leaves you with as well. So that I think is a great connect there.
Okay, so do you think that the life we are living, you said it's a Maya, right? So you think that we are in some other because we have a multiverse, and we are living someone else's life, and this is a dream as well? Any thought on that?
So yeah, I mean, that's the whole premise of Vedanta's levels of waking and dream state. So what it extrapolates is, in this state of dreams, you are convinced that you are living in reality.
Yeah.
And the unless you are, you wake, you realize, and then you become a lucid dreamer where you can manipulate it.
Mhm.
Uh, it extends that concept to our real life and says that what you live, which is Maya, the illusion, is also a dream. And it just has a collective sense to it. Like, there are people who appear and disappear, but they know exactly, the same things, like the news that we hear and things that we talk or whatever we eat, it is shared. So the way it has been explained is like you have a shared common dream, which is so intricate and so persistent that you believe that it is the reality. But the search of truth would lead you to eventually waking up from this dream also. And that's where you are in state of Satchit Anand, which is the blissful state where your consciousness and the truth is all connected. And you're seeing this reality as just a gameplay at that point of time. You're like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go back to reality, but I'm gonna live the life like it's a gameplay, and I will not get caught up in high on emotions and or depression and things like that. So you will always live in a very very joyful state, and that's essentially these translation of it, Anna.
So basically, the life we are living is a gameplay. Then what is the reality?
that's a that's a very deep question.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, so what is reality as described or as experienced by the sages, I would call it, is the existence of that consciousness or awareness, which does not get caught up in just the physical bodily form. And that reality supposed to, again, why I say supposed to is because I would, it would be blasphemous for me to say that I live in that state. I don't. I have, I would say, understood fractions of it and experienced a little bit of it. But at the core of it, it is that no matter what is happening around you, it starts to not impact you because you see it like a dream. And if you know in a dream that, as I mean, as late as last night, and a very interesting dream, I was, dreaming, and I was in a place where someone took away my phone, and I was so paranoid in the dream. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, he's taken away phone and he's given me this clicker, which if I click, it will say that where the phone is. But what will I do with this is the whole thing which is going on. And I am trying to go back and search for that person. And I'm like, I did not even take his number. I don't know what will happen. My phone is gone. My phone is gone. And thankfully, I woke up and I'm like, first thing, where is my phone? And I'm like, okay, yeah, I have my phone, and so on. So the the fact is, if you are living in that state of knowing that even if in real life your phone is gone, you lost your phone, and you're like, okay, no, it should not impact me, because at the end of it, it's a perceptual limitation of me to get paranoid of about it. Now, it's all about emotions that you attach to it. It's not about like, I'm not suggesting that people lose their phone and be happy about it. Maybe it will make people happy, to be honest. But uh, if you remove the emotions of panic, if you remove your emotions of anger or frustration and all of those things, it automatically would reduce. When you believe that, okay, this is temporary, you will find it, because it's not something that it will go. And that, I think, is a constant reality, as in that's the state that we want to be in, where you become what in Gita the word is used as sthit pragya. Like nothing impacts you, neither the successes nor the
Yes.
losses of this thing. And because you know that this is all a gameplay and it will not impact. But when you're engaged in the gameplay, you're not engaging it half-heartedly. You're totally engaged. You're engrossed in that gameplay. You're enjoying the whole play, but knowing in the heart that you're playing a role at the end of it. So that's, I think, I mean, that's the best I can do, to be honest, to explain this.
So it's the same thing, like in the puppet show, the artist is not seen by the audience. So actually, then, but from his unseen position, he manipulates a number of wires to activate the puppet. And so, who is if we are puppets, then who is pulling our wires? Who is behind the artist?
That is where that's the start of all the religions. And all religions describe it differently. The puppet can, expects certain things from you and wants you to do certain things and all of those things. Now, I think the on the basis of Vedanta, basis of, I would say, the dharmic way of thinking, obviously the puppet is someone who's created the world, created the rules of the world, and literally out and the rules of the world is basically related to your karma, for instance. Is so your karma is those threads which are getting formed every day, every hour, you're making those new threads, and past threads which are still there are kind of resisting it or providing you the push either ways, and so on. So the pure Vedantic way of seeing it is the whole Brahma, or the universe, or the power which is which is powering all of us, and the Atma is the, I would say, outlet of that power from a humanistic standpoint, uh, is the same thing. And the whole gameplay is essentially, again, apparently a dream in that Brahma says, places itself. Like, so that itself is a dream. So why is it happening? Why these rules? What are these rules to play around with? That is very difficult. Now it's the same thing scientifically is explained is through big bang explosion happened now, and then the whole star systems formed and all of those things. So from a physics standpoint, all of that got created. But why does those rules of physics are consistent, or why what determines those rules? Like, very simply, I mean, why does the water freeze at 0 degree, and I only at that point, no matter which part of Earth you go in, very consistent. Now, though who determines those rules, there must be some superpower, is like where it kind of ends. It doesn't explain it. It doesn't say that you should pray to it. And so this is a pure scientific way of doing it. In Vedanta, it is more of making sure that you as a person, how do you relieve yourself of this burden of constant stress, anxiety, all of those things, is by knowing that the game that is being, or the play that you are in, the Maya that you are in, is all temporary. So anything, the any attachment that you have with it is only going to lead you to more and more pain, and hence you have to realize the true nature of existence itself. That's how it kind of rounds up.
Okay, how this movie relates to the concept of Vedanta, that it is broken into three elements: the self, the outside world, and someone who controls the both. Can we also discuss the three gunas of the characters? Yusuf, Arthur, Ernst, Cobb, Saito, Adrian, and Rover. I mean, you can talk
Okay, yeah.
gist. Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is a fairly, I mean, it's a question which has again multi-layered answer to it. First of all, uh, uh, um, from a pure movie making perspective, I think they have very smartly used, the Adrian as the architect,
Mhm.
and essentially an architect is the one who is designing how the world would look like. And so because this is more of collective dream, you can project, and you when project the structure and you go into it. Now, what is outside it is essentially an arc. So in this case, if I have to relate to the reality, in reality, uh, why is the nature of trees such, or why is a rock hard, and all of those things we have not determined. It just came. Water, why is water cool normal in normal circumstances? No, so that means there is an architect which is beyond our control. We didn't determine the properties of those. It's just like that. It is what it is. And so as engineers, we understand the nature of property and use that to our advantage, whether making steel, whether making roads, all of those things. Same thing in the movie. The architect kind of determines what the structure of each level of dream should look like, what it should be involved, and so on. So that's the beauty of it. So which basically makes the outside world is usually outside your influence. I mean, you do not have any literal control over. The inside world of yourself is essentially at two levels. One is the conscious level and subconscious level. And in the conscious level, you are able to take decisions. You are able to choose between stuff and things like that. However, a lot of your conscious choices are actually determined by the influences of subconscious. And in this, thankfully, they don't go into the subconscious of all the characters, but you always see Mal, which is Cobb's wife, who's always coming back and interrupting whatever he is doing. That's the projection of subconscious that he has. So he is able to do all his activity even in the dream state, but then suddenly the subconscious kicks in and does things because he's not made peace with that fact that he led to his wife's death by inception. And that's essentially is biting him so much that and as you go a level, what you will notice is the more deeper the dream goes, Mal becomes more and more stronger,
Mhm.
and she's able to really become very powerful. And that's why when in Fortress, she is literally able to shoot people and kill them in in the process. So the subconscious, in some way, what is being said is the very strong influencer of whatever consciously what we are doing. And that's the same concept in Vedanta as well. I mean, your constant activities is not necessarily related to the choices that or the perception that you formed, which you are aware of. There is lot of perception or decisions that you are making day to day choices which you are completely unaware of, and you just take those decisions based on you don't know where those decisions are coming from, but you have actually taken decision based on the subconscious. It could sometimes called gut feel, sometimes you call it, just a hint, and you felt that you should be taking this decision, things like that.
So how the subconscious is formed?
Oh, how's this? Oh, so it's a first of all nature of our lives. First of all, it's a human nature
Nature, right? That
that
comes from the gunas. Is it related to the guna, Rajo,
so
Sattva?
it's up. So yeah, I mean, so
Take
you
that gunas and then go to the subconsciousness.
correct. No, so it is related, definitely related. The gunas that uh, how it is formed is essentially, first of all, it is formed because that's how our human system is being made. It's like, why do we have heart? I mean, because we were just designed that way, that there has to be something which will pump blood. The subconscious is essentially, I would say, the core of our personality. Someone likes going out, someone doesn't like going out, someone likes loud music, someone doesn't like loud music. uh, and it's natural. Nobody is taught it. As a kid yourself, you will start seeing a twin coming up, and the twins having complete different personalities.
Yeah.
And that is basically they are born with certain amount. Now, some of it is genetics, which is you inherited from your parents. The other way to see it is essentially the gunas part of it, which is the leftover karma, or the residual karma. So when you do a karma, essentially one is the active part of karma, which is doing, and the result of it, which is the consequence. The residual of that consequence is how you hold that, and that is where that is the detachment that you have to. That's the point of detachment that is being asked for us to build. That you don't get too attached with the consequences of the karma that you are bringing in, because that will become your guna. So it essentially means that uh, if you have been successful, there is an element of pride which comes in. It's a very normal psychological now, but that pride, if not addressed or not settled or relieved, then becomes part of your subconscious. Like you will then have, the consequence of that would be that if you see someone more successful than you, then there is a jealousy which will trick in. If you see someone who's not as successful, then you are, secretly feeling, superior to that person. Now that part of guna has to be, I would say, slowly recognized and removed from your system, so that you can be truly free of the consequences. And really, I mean, in the Buddhist, this thing, the nirvana that is being said, is essentially freedom from those gunas and freedom from those subconscious attachments that you are still carrying, which you have not addressed it. And if you believe in multiple lives, that it kind of keeps gathering from multiple lives, and you have to kind of annihilate, or burn down all of those gunas to become achieve nirvana or moksha.
No, but the basic, right? The guna, rajo, sattva, tamas, and then how you deal with it. Just that. Can you tell my viewers?
Yeah, so I think again we covered that in the previous, but we can really do a quick refresher on it. Is so gunas are essentially formed. I mean, so it's part of your personality, and all of it has three flavors to it. I would say there are three kinds of gunas that dominate all of us in different proportions. So it's not, we are not truly, and those three gunas are your sattvic, sattva, rajas, and tamas. Tamas essentially is related to all your lethargy, your inaction, and all of those things. Rajas again has two parts to it. One is the very political and all of those things, which is you are deal you normal day to day dealing with it. And sattva is the kindness and the essentially the search for truth and search for wisdom. All of that is the sattvic nature for all of us. Now, all of us are born with certain tendencies, which is essentially a configuration of this, which is what I was saying, that our personalities or auto exist based on your past life, if you believe in that, or based on your genetics, whichever you say it. Essentially, you have a certain starting point, and the attempt of all of the Vedic recognition of it is because you start with a certain temperament. There are different ways to become a better version of yourself. And if you are truly, I mean, if you tamasic nature is dominant, then Hatha Yoga is the path that is said. For Rajas, and especially where emotions are very high, bhakti yoga is something that you do. And in Sattvic or even in Rajas, where the mind is very powerful, then there is Gyan yoga for you that you follow. And if you're very action oriented, then Karma yoga is for you. So those paths essentially are for you to start neutralizing yourself so that your sattvicness in general becomes better. You become more aware of your own limitation and tendencies, and awareness by itself creates relief. So when you know that, okay, this is this is because of this thing that you have, and you make peace with it, that okay, this is my part of my nature and I have to overcome it, means the acceptance is the first step to overcoming it itself. So that relieves it, and you become better and better, more aware and less governed by those tendencies, because you are able to keep them in check, because you are aware of it.
So just for the solution, like okay, Hatha Yoga, we know we can go and do it. Like there are many classes as well, but how do we do Gyan Yoga and Bhakti Yoga?
Yeah, Gyan Yoga is what we are doing at this point of time, to be honest. Gyan Yoga is the knowledge of all of these elements. The Vedanta, whole study of Vedanta is very, very centered around Jnana. Uh, because you're questioning, who am I, first of all, what is me, and what is reality, which is essentially in the search of truth. Because if you answer these two things, and which essentially at some point become the same question, like what is the truth and what is going on, then you have intellectually understood the concepts of it. Now the second part of it is essentially, once you have hit the gyan part of it, then it is the experiential part of it, which is where the meditation comes in. So all of these hatha, gyan, or and bhakti, all of this will eventually lead you to a state where you can start doing meditation. And then with meditation, you unlock your first of all become come to this moment, and the second, unlock and enjoy the blissfulness which is there to access. And bhakti yoga is all about your so many all of our I would say it's the ISKCON movement, Hare Krishna, or you can say the Radha Govind Dham, which is all of those things are very, very centered on bhakti. And obviously in Indian tradition there are a lot of this thing. If you compare even the church, or the love for Jesus, is also in certain ways bhakti yoga itself, because you're dedicating everything to Jesus Christ. You are even, I would say, in the Islamic point of view also, everything has to be, is given by Allah, and you're doing your duty as for the Allah. So it's also a form of bhakti, but it's all devotion. Forms of devotion are bhakti yoga.
So the last question, as per Vedanta, the waking world is yet another illusory projection. The Brahman alone is reality. So we can end with this answer.
Yeah, so we spoke about it briefly earlier, and I'll recap it. Is that the waking state that we are talking about is the state which I was saying that you reach when you hit the deep meditation that I'm talking about, the blissful state in the meditation. Because then you have truly woken up, then you have truly seen that all of these things which are arising, my anger, my desire, my aspiration to prove someone to something and be known as someone, is all part of a very, very, very limited usage of our minds and the availability. That truly waking up will essentially lead us to blissfulness, just by being there and experiencing the joy of existence, which is you have the awareness to perceive things first of all, and there is so many things to perceive, which is both one and the same. And that state when you hit, you're truly woken up. And I think that's where I would say that I hope we all are able to experience that at least once in our lives.
So, do you have anything to say to my viewers of The Atman Show before I let you go?
No, I think first of all, thank you so much. Yeah, this episode took a lot of time, primarily because of my travels and so on. So thanks for the patience and staying there. Again, I would, to the audience, I would certainly say, please subscribe, uh, hit the bell icon, and all of those things to promote this channel. I think Anna has been doing great work in trying to get people from various walks of life and discussing very interesting set of topics. Do explore the Atman channel on YouTube, and all the best, Anna.
Okay. Bye. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste. Thanks, everyone.